Welcome haters, today the fastest stage in the race's history. For haters, this was a signal that all the peloton was on doping, I suppose. The fastest stage of the Tour de France in history has just been won by Soren van Scholde with an average speed of 50.91 kilometers an hour. This is the table for the top 10 fastest Tour de France stages in history. All of these are based on average speed of the winner, and we can see right up here the fastest ever was today's stage, 161.3 kilometers, won at 50.910 kilometers an hour. And it wasn't a pan flat stage really, it was 650 meters of climbing still. But 1999 here, Mario Cipollini was the previous record. Now that's a 27-year-old record that's been broken. Very impressive. So looking at why was today so much quicker than previous stages, so one of the main factors is always going to be a tailwind. There was a strong tailwind, the route was mostly flat, and there was an early four-man break with attacks from riders including Van der Poel. Sprint teams never let the break gain even 2 minutes, which means there was no easy point throughout the stage on mostly a flat stage with a tailwind. So all these factors come together, as well as obviously modern equipment being generally more aerodynamic. So this is what people are saying in the comments here. For all the talk about how everyone is going faster and faster, this broke the record from 1999 before aero bikes, aero socks and aero suits. That's true. I mean, 1999 wasn't as aerodynamic. Socks, obviously they just wore regular socks back then. I think that says more about how fast and strong everyone was in 1999 on that day. There must have been a heck of a tailwind. Did they have a tailwind as well? Yes. Welcome haters, today the fastest stage in the race's history. For haters, this was a signal that all the peloton was on doping, I suppose. No, it's not really. Obviously there's super strong riders like Van der Poel in the breakaway, and obviously the domestiques working for these sprinters are super strong with absolute power numbers that are very high, heavier riders who can just haul their frames at fast speeds on the flat. But I think other factors come into this more. I think it's more about the teams working together with the purpose of keeping the breakaway close so that the stage would end in a sprint, which funnily enough it kind of didn't. The way it was won was very unexpected. The reason it was so fast is because lots and lots of riders work together to make it fast, not just one rider or one team. Time trials, I don't think these come into the account actually with this record. I don't think time trials are considered separate. That was a once in a million sprint. The hole perfectly opens on the inside and it catches everyone by surprise. Yeah, it was. Don't see many stages like that in pro racing, to be honest, where you're in the final kilometer in the last sort of 600 meters and just a rider decides to go on the attack when normally we see sprint trains set up and stuff, but everyone was sort of just disconnected and it went a little bit crazy at the end. Everyone is already on doping. We are back in the old days, EPO. And I think the conversation about EPO and the conversation about doping is more relevant on mountain stages where it's all about watt per kilo and very light riders producing huge power numbers. That's when, you can start to wonder about doping a little bit. That's where that conversation comes in. But I think on these types of stages, these flat stages, doping isn't actually a very big factor in my opinion. I don't think for a larger rider, these domestiques that work for their sprinters, it's not too difficult to produce large amounts of power, and there's lots of them and they all work together. They all take it in turns. One team takes it up, another team takes it up because there's a shared interest in winning the stage in a sprint. So it's a lot of men all working together to make this result. Whereas on a mountain stage, normally it is just one team that is on the front up the mountain, like UAE. Maybe Visma might be there, but normally it is just one team that will dominate. Maybe mechanical doping is more relevant in this discussion to do with the fast stage, but yeah, I'm not really going to talk too much about mechanical because it should be very easy to spot mechanical doping. I hope so, because if all these teams are running motors in their bikes and it's not been discovered yet, then I think we're living on another planet. If that's true, there must be some kind of corruption if that's the case. But yeah, I don't think that's happening, in my opinion. I think if doping's happening in 2026, it's biological, it's not mechanical. Unless, like I say, unless there's some kind of corruption going on in the UCI. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, well, this guy says faster than mopeds, scooters and cars, all of that without any fuel. Now, this is not a very educated comment. I think this annoys me a little bit because, you know, these cyclists are very strong. They're in a large peloton. Even in the breakaway, they're working together. The aerodynamic advantage of being in a large group, if you've ever ridden in a peloton before, it's amazing just how much energy you save and how fast you can go just because you're in just because you're in the split stream of everyone around you. There's like a massive hole punch through the wind. The wind isn't touching you, it's being pushed out of the way by everyone on the front and on the outsides, depending on the wind direction. And you just fly, you just float. It's so easy, you can save so much energy. And just imagine you've got these domestiques at the front hammering it, putting the power down, these very strong, powerful riders on the front, working hard all day long, taking it in turns. Well, yeah. And they are fueled. They're fueled. They're elite athletes. They're fueled by huge amounts of carbohydrate every hour, 120 grams of carbohydrate every hour. It's, you know, this number keeps seemingly going higher and higher because these teams are finding new ways to fuel the muscles of their riders. This is a stupid comment, in my opinion. It's perfectly possible for this to happen without mechanical or biological doping, in my opinion. But yeah, fastest tour stage in history, and there's some comments of people and what they think. There's a lot of this kind of cynical attitude towards Tour de France at the moment, which upsets me a bit. And I know I'm making videos about it, and I'm kind of clickbaiting my videos a little bit, but you know, otherwise no one's going to watch the videos. But it's a way to stir up the conversation anyway, and I like to see people talking about cycling. But there's just so much cynicism about doping now, and I think it's a shame in a way because the trust of the sport is clearly it's on the rocks, and I'd rather the conversation be about the rivalries and be about the exciting racing. But it's such a time of domination at the moment by one rider and one team that we can't really avoid this conversation, you know, because it's very similar to the US Postal days and the Team Sky days, but even worse, like in respects to domination. UAE just have a chokehold on the Tour de France, on the GC, and it's just forcing this conversation now. And I think a lot of people are trying to avoid it by defending UAE, defending Pogacar, trying to talk about the entertainment value of Pogacar. But I think it's just very divisive. I think half of us believe it, half of us just don't believe it. But yeah, this is a difficult time for cycling at the moment. It's very good in terms of attention. A lot of people are talking about, a lot of people are thinking about Tour de France, which is good, which is going to benefit, I think, the sport in the short term maybe, but in the long run, you know, let's just hope that it is clean. Let's just hope that even if it isn't, that we never find out that it isn't, you know, for sure. Let's hope that we don't get another Armstrong reveal in 5-10 years. I'd rather the sport just continue to be entertaining, even if it's divisive at the moment. I don't think it will be forever. I think Pogacar will eventually retire or fade in terms of his domination anyway, and it'll get exciting again, more exciting again anyway, in terms of there being more people, more rivals able to fight for the Tour de France GC win. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm working hard on daily videos during this Tour de France, and it'd be great to see you in the next video. Take care, guys.